Okay, I got you for now. I got you in. That's how it goes sometimes. Good morning, ladies. Can you hear me?
Hello,
Hi,
how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I was like,
Good.
that video, that person didn't look like you.
That's because I cut all my hair off. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
So, the way that we're gonna do this, just so it's not like they're watching uh the whole thing, I'll present the small business checklist live, and then we'll play the video of the credit hacks.
Okay.
That way they can ask questions on that, on the small business checklist portion if they want. And if they ask questions on the other portion, then I can get answers to them, or I can answer them as they're asking. But that way it's not just like we're just showing them two videos.
Okay.
Okay?
Person, correct?
Huh?
In this room, we're in person, we're presenting in person, is that correct? Arvina? So like,
Oh,
so Debbie and I are still presenting live.
right.
So if we're presenting live in here, then I guess I'm confused about
I've been
Allison
confused
being
about
on the
this.
Zoom. Yeah, so I think the idea is that Mariah is going to stream live on your Instagram with her phone in here. And Allison is not going to be up on this screen because she's just going to be on Zoom and your Facebook Live or something.
Yeah.
On Zoom with Vernell. So this room is live and Debbie and I are presenting. And then Allison is presenting to the online people.
So if you're running the Zoom, then we wouldn't be able to use your computer in here.
Right.
Right. So I don't know if you have a connection that we can just connect my computer for in here for the.
I don't, do you not have this? No HDMI.
I didn't bring HDMI.
And we could try and see if it works right here. What, is it a square?
The other option, hey, how are you guys? Is we can just do everything in here.
Yeah, I'm thinking that that's probably the.
And maybe Allison just presents on the screen.
Yeah, I think that might be the best way to do it, because that's how I understood it from the get-go, was that everything was gonna be on Zoom and you guys were gonna be here live presenting, because we're gonna have individuals here as well.
Oh, so do you have cameras set up to record them, and you're just gonna show you're just gonna run the,
Just my computer.
oh, so you're just gonna run the slides and that's gonna show over the Zoom?
Yeah, we have it projected on the wall.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I think for now, we come back in here, if we're gonna do everything.
How about we take Brunel's computer, come back in here and let Irvina run the Zoom with Allison. And we just do our slides.
I mean, we can just go live here on the
Oh,
Zoom
okay.
and we'll just sit
Okay,
versus stand.
okay.
Yeah, it'll just show the slides on the Zoom. It doesn't have to show the speakers if they turn off their camera. It'll just show the slides that they're sharing if they share their screen, I think.
Okay, well then, you don't need to present, then we'll just do it. Does that make sense?
Here, I'll let you run this part, but I'll have to be letting people in here. and-
Yeah.
Allison, I think I'm gonna go ahead, since you're online and you're ready to go, I'm just gonna let you present mine.
Okay.
And this also shows up on the screen in the room
Yes,
right now. Oh,
Okay.
perfect. That's good.
Okay, and I will share the slides for you as well, Debbie. I can run them from here.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, how are you? Can I get anyone a water? Maybe like a water? Okay.
Yeah, me too. It's not that, but yeah, I know.
I will tell you that while I'm presenting, I will turn my camera off because staring at myself on the screen distracts me.
Problem.
So,
Right? New position.
my thing is always moving it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more here. You can do that.
Yeah, there's. Okay, so I don't do a computer and I don't have a computer. I just, our kids won't send us off. You want to open house at home, for housing, question next time, are you guys putting that nursing home? So you guys want me to plug in your application, right? That's what I always wanted on our phone.
Yeah.
The nursing homes, so we can have our elders that have our, if it's in the photo. Instead of sending them by that, it's just bring applications that are not too, and it's. But they're true, they're not, it's everything, it's very similar. No. And so she's gonna handle the questions as well.
People actually like, Allison will actually manage Debbie's slides as well.
Okay, and then Irvina's got the questions in the chat.
Yes, she
Okay,
will
okay.
manage letting people in the Zoom,
Okay.
and I think that's where the confusion started, was just like something she's. Just, it's a hybrid. So it's but it'll be fine, and having Allison on the screen is great, because sitting with the Zoom is not my comfort.
No, I understand completely, okay. So thank you, ladies, just bear with us, we got everybody joining. We've gone from our Zoom and online transformational Thursdays, which is Wednesday, so we've got a few changes. And going into hybrid, and now that we have a building that's ours, we want to bring more people in. And so this is our first hybrid session, and so bear with us and thank you for. Yes. Exactly, we've all got to learn today, so I can say, once we're all done, we'll be well. And you guys will walk away with some great information. Right now, that IT side, It's a work in progress. always. And my.
Today we're having World Changers Wednesday.
Right.
There we go. I love that. There we go. Working Women Wednesday.
So what else do you guys do in the business?
So we're starting our programming of our programming, but we're just really getting moved in. We've just transitioned to staff from contractors. So you'll just keep following our socials and you'll see the events that we have out. But we've got individuals that come in and just they need a space to work in when they're coming from out of area. So we invite them to here. We're getting ready to launch another loan fund. And so that's coming in April. Some of our 4 pillars are convening, access to capital, technical assistance, and storytelling. And our storytelling is all that comes out of all of our activities and uplifting our voices in different areas, different market sectors. But right now, really coming out of our ECW 5 years is identifying our niche outside of some of the programming that's come. We've got 3 different programmings, promoting positive laterals, a cybersecurity programming for government contractors that's required by the federal government, but it's at a fraction of the cost because it took a lot of our women entrepreneurs out of the contracting world just because of that cybersecurity. And then we've got 3 other programs that we're working on to bring forward, and are working with ONABEN from Oklahoma and Girls Inc. Veronica's run an organization there that was established in 1991. So she's going to be working with us and our team and her staff, so that we're not trying to recreate the wheel. We're looking and identifying what's worked in the past and how we can cross over into our community here. So they've come out from Oklahoma, but our footprint for Native women lead goes into Canada, Mexico, and all across Turtle Island. And so how we can serve all of our communities, both urban and our rural. So with all of that, like what we do here is provide, technical assistance, entrepreneurial, building programming efforts. And right now we're really focused on our micro lending and our startup entrepreneurs. We feel like we have the most resources to be able to help our businesses in that area, but partnering with organizations such as ONABEN if we have needs, or a community or entrepreneurs have needs that we can't serve or fill, then we look to our partners to help. Again, we've been around, we've been in business for a lot of years, and we've been trying to run our families, our businesses, and all the responsibilities in between, our community needs, cultural needs, that how has this been done in other areas? How is it managing, and where we can cross over some of those lessons that take that learning curve out for our community. You're more than welcome. And Intervina is our operations manager, and she's just been brought on. She was a contractor with us from May of last year, and then she was brought on as staff, as well as Sade and Brittany. So, and then this is Miss Rebecca. Welcome. And she is one of our evaluators for our ECW award. And so, thank you. Thank you. I'll just read you, please. Rebecca, this is Rebecca. Ready? Nice to meet you. The side. You like? I'm just coming to you there. Okay, well, we've got Miss Rebecca has joined us. I think one of our biggest lessons learned in the business world is to be prompt on our time. So we got a little bit of grace with this 5 minutes as we welcomed everybody. Welcome those online. My name is Vernell Chase Pinamia.
I am a member of the Brobon tribe from Fort Belknap, Montana, where I was born and raised. I was very fortunate to be able to raise my children here in New Mexico, but I recently moved, well, not so recently, to Nisqually to join my husband in Washington State. So we welcome you. I am the interim executive director and the board president, but I stepped back for this role through May. But we'll be welcoming in new staff and new team members. So again, continue to follow Native Women Lead and our announcements and how we are serving our community. So I'd like to go ahead and welcome Miss Debbie with ONABEN, who will be our facilitator. And we'll be going through, and Veronica will be working as well. We've got some sheets here that have been shared as well as shared with those that are online. And so this will be an interactive training. So please, if you have any questions, I'll let Debbie go on with that. I don't want to interrupt her
Yeah.
flow. So I'll go ahead and turn it
Yeah.
over to Miss Debbie right now. So thank you for your
Yeah.
time and presence.
Yeah, if you have any questions online, please just put them in the chat and someone will get those answered for you. Allison is actually online and she's going to present the Getting Down to Work Small Business. And then
All right, everyone, my name is Allison Fisher, and I am a training specialist with ONABEN. I work directly with the entrepreneurs that we help writing business plans, registering LLCs, getting EIN numbers. So we're going to talk about all of that in today's presentation. I'm going to turn my camera off because I get distracted by myself when I have the camera on, and we'll get into it. All right, getting down to work, a small business checklist. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and I'm going to share this checklist that's designed to help you turn your ideas into reality. It's going to start in the order that I feel is best and easiest to get everything done when you're starting a small business to try to avoid as many hiccups as possible. So it all starts with an idea. Every business starts with an idea, whether your business stems from a deep passion that you have, or you look around your community and you see a need that needs to be filled. And this idea is the core of what you're building. You're going to reflect on your idea, what ignites your passion, what fulfills the need, and that's going to be your starting point. Remember that while you're on this journey of starting your business, there are tons of organizations like Native Women Lead and ONABEN that are here to help you. So next, you're going to conduct market research. Conducting market research is essential for determining if your idea can become a successful business. It'll provide you insight, acting as a roadmap to find opportunities and hopefully avoid any pitfalls. It'll allow you to connect with future customers, understand their needs, see what your community needs, refine what you're offering, and this will help you build a strong foundation for your business. Market research can be as simple as asking your friends, hey, do you think that, is this the kind of business that you think you need? It can be done as simple as asking questions and doing polls on Facebook to see if there's an interest in the type of business that you're proposing. You can use market research software, or if you're in the position to do so, there are companies that you can hire to conduct market research for you. Choosing your business name. Now that we've talked about your idea and your research, you're going to choose a business name. Your business name sets the tone for your brand. It reflects the message that you want your business to carry and how you want your business to be perceived. So the one thing that you're going to want to do that's the most important after you decide what you want your business name to be is to make sure that you check that it's available. It needs to be attainable. So I'd hate for you to find a business name that you love, start writing a business plan, doing some advertising, and then go to register your business and see that it's not available with that, with your, state's LLC. Somebody already has it. And you're not only going to check to see if it's available to be registered at your state level, because you're going to want a website. You're going to possibly want to market on Instagram or Facebook. So this is a step that's often overlooked. But before you register your business, you're going to want to make sure that that name is available in every fashion that you would want to use it. Because registering it with your state is just on a state level, but things like domain names and social media handles, those are things that can be, taken by anyone, anywhere. So even if the name is available on the New Mexico Secretary of State website, that doesn't mean that someone in Wisconsin doesn't already have that name and bought the domain. And you'd hate to register your business and then have to do a DBA or do a different name for your website or your, business Facebook page or your Instagram handle. So thoroughly checking the availability in the very beginning helps you to ensure that the name that you register is also the name that you'll able to use across the board. Choosing a business structure. When choosing a business structure, you're making a decision that will have long-term implications. The legal structure you select will impact how you register your business, the taxes you pay, and your personal liability. There's many options. So you want to make sure that the one that you choose is one that you're also comfortable with, but benefits you the most. Now, we're not going to deep dive into all the business structures. We're going to go over a few of the most common. If you have questions beyond that, you can always reach out to us, or you can ask them in the chat and I'll try to get you a more in-depth answer. But the first one we're going to look at is a sole proprietorship. When you start a business, even if you don't register it, if you're at home and you're making Stanley Cups or something like that, you are already a sole proprietor. If you're conducting business activities, even if you haven't formally registered your business, you're automatically a sole proprietorship. It's straightforward. It goes straight through into your own personal income. But the one thing to remember here is that there's no legal separation between you and your business. This means you're personally responsible for any debts or obligations that arise out of the business. Next is partnerships. When considering a partnership for your business, and obviously you would have to have a partner first if you were choosing a partnership, it's essential to understand the different types. There's a limited partnership, and in a limited partnership, one partner carries more of the liability. The partner that's carrying the liability would therefore also have more control over decision making for the business. It's advantageous if you have a partner willing to assume more risk for that greater decision making power. Then there's limited liability partnerships. This would be that partners are equal. So each partner is protected from personal liability and for certain business debts and obligations, but you'd be sharing the responsibilities equally. The most common is the limited liability company, an LLC. So first off, an LLC offers protections from personal liability, which is a significant advantage. This means your personal assets are generally safe if your business encounters financial trouble. Another key point is the tax benefit. Profits and losses can pass through to your personal income without facing corporate taxes. This can simplify tax preparation and potentially save you money. Another thing to remember if you choose an LLC is that you are essentially considered to be self-employed. So you are going to be personally responsible for paying self-employment taxes. If anybody has any questions, please just let me know. The next is corporations. Corporations are generally divided into an S Corp and a C Corp, and I'm not really going into the distinctions between the two of those on here, but the thing to remember with corporations is that they are their own distinct entities. This means that the corporation itself can make a profit, be taxed, and be held legally liable. Another thing is that they continue indefinitely. They aren't tied to an owner. So you would have to have some kind of setup as far as a plan on how the corporation would run after you. So finally, talk to a tax professional before you decide on which type or which business type you are going to land on. So you want to understand the full tax impact that you're going to expect so that there aren't any unexpected surprises. Every business is unique, and so talking to a professional can help provide advice for your situation so that you are making the best choice for yourself. And now we're ready to register our business. So now that we've covered some business structures, we're going to talk about registering your business. Once you've chosen a name and decided on your business structure, it's time to make it official. In most cases, this is registering with the Secretary of State of the state that you're living in. This legitimizes your business and protects it. Every state has their own registration process. Most states have an online registration platform that you go to the Secretary of State website, you log on, you enter the information that it asks of you, and you've paid the registration fee, which is different from state to state. And within a few days, they will send you back your articles and let you know that your business has been successfully registered. I have a couple of times had it where even though you checked your name availability, then they have sent back and said the name is too close to another. So you want to make sure that you get the confirmation from the Secretary of State before you move past this point. So once we've received the confirmation from our state that the name registration is complete, the next step is getting a EIN number. So this is your federal tax ID number, employee identification number, your EIN number. You'll hear it referred, all of those used interchangeably. This is what you're going to need to open a business bank account. It's essential for paying taxes. It's how the IRS identifies your business for tax purposes. And this is going to ensure that you're staying compliant. It's basically a business social security number. But one thing to remember is that filing for an EIN is a free service. you do it on irs.gov. One of the things that I hate to hear is when people spend money to do something that doesn't cost anything. And I was at a training not long ago, and a gentleman told me that he paid someone $200 to get his EIN number for him. So when you go to do this process, make sure that you are on the irs.gov website and not a third party. You don't need to hire someone to do this. You go to their online program, you fill in the information, and instantly after you submit, your EIN number is going to come up on screen. If this is something that you don't feel comfortable doing alone, you can always reach out to someone to have help walk you through the process, but you don't need to pay anyone. There are plenty of service providers out there like ONABEN and Native Women Lead that can help you do these things without paying for it. So next, now that we know our business name and we have our EIN number, we're going to focus on writing our business plan. So your business plan is first and foremost crucial requirement if you're seeking funding. Almost every lender or investor out there is going to want to see a clear business plan before they commit to supporting your venture. Almost every loan application that I've ever seen, whether it was from a traditional lender or a CDFI, has had a requirement for a business plan as one of the documents that you attach to your loan application. But beyond funding, your business plan is like a roadmap for your business. It's a strategic guide that will help you keep on track and keep focused on what you want your business to do. If you're not looking for funding, it can be as simple as one page. But the act of writing it down and having it in one place where you can go back and review it. If you do get partners, you can have them look over it. If you hire employees, they can look at it also. It just helps keep everybody on the same page. And then also, you might find that your business has changed in a way, and maybe there's adjustments that you need to make. So going back and looking at it and having it there for others to look at is really beneficial for your business. So we've got our name, we've got our plan, we got our EIN number, we can open a business bank account. So it's essential for day-to-day operations for your business to have a business bank account. This means that all transactions, whether you're paying a supplier or you're receiving a payment from a customer, go through this account. Keeping your business and personal finances separate is not just a recommendation, it's a best practice. It simplifies accounting, protects your personal assets by clearly distinguishing that there is a difference between your business and personal expenses. If for some reason you already have a business and you've been blending your personal and business finances, I suggest that you work on separating those. It's a straightforward process, and I feel like it provides people peace of mind. It's easier to create your financial documents. You can go in and look and see what money you've paid, and you don't have to go through and check and be like, wait, no, that wasn't a business expense, or this was a personal expense. And it just keeps everything separated and is just more beneficial in the long run. So next, you can fund your business. There are many different funders when it comes to your business. That you've got options like CDFIs, traditional lenders, SBA backed loans, depending on what your business is you got agriculture, USDA backed loans, and all kinds of different options. So looking at what you need for your business to get started, and you should have, with your business plan, you were able to create that as part of your business plan to know how much money you need. So if you need more than you already have, then you can always look at funding options. So every business has different requirements, whether it's licenses and permits, whether you've got a food truck and it's got to be inspected by your health department, or you are a boutique and you are needing to get a sales tax permit, or you have a construction company and you need to be licensed and bonded. Those are all options that you have, and knowing which ones that you need to do to stay legally compliant is very important. So make sure that you research that for your distinct business and the industry that you're going to be in. It's not going to be the same all across the board. All right, that is the end of our first presentation. Did anybody have any questions?
I don't have questions, I just have a couple of suggestions. I love seeing some of you guys writing on your little note paper. I'm an interactive kind of presenter. And so that's what the little piece of paper was for, but on the market research, the secondary, so Allison named two, the primary, which is a direct conversation with your potential customers, and the secondary is that research that you can do. I will tell you, if you're interested in secondary research, oftentimes libraries have the capacity to offer that to you. When I first really kind of dove into market research, I was amazed to learn that our library in Tulsa actually does a ton of secondary research for individuals. The primary is my favorite because that's where you're getting firsthand information from your customers. So outside of my full-time gig with ONABEN, after years of doing entrepreneurial development, I've branched out and started doing a couple of things on my own. And when I first started, I really wanted to have conversations with the people who I thought would maybe be my customers. So I asked them, if I became a travel advisor, would you let me plan your travel? Could I create your itineraries? If I did, what would that look like? Would you want me to book your flights? Is it hotels? Is it Airbnbs? And so that was a direct conversation with my potential customers. So that was primary market research. On some of the things that Allison mentioned, such as the tax ID number or the EIN, anything that you're nervous about doing, and it's so common. I mean, I've been doing this for years, and my husband is also branching out from his full-time gig and creating a business. And he informed me that I was his primary partner in his engineering firm. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't sign on to that. But I'm terrified to even do some of these things myself, and I've been doing it for years. So if you feel like you need some extra support and you get to that irs.gov website and you're just like, I don't want to mess up, just know that we are a collaborative partner with Native Women Lead, and you can reach out to anyone on our team. And we are so happy to pull up that website with you and walk you through the A, B's, and C's. This is a great place to ask questions, so don't be shy. If you have a business name that you're not sure about afterward, share it with us. We want to know what it is that you're involved in, because we want to be a resource to you.
Hi, this is Dawn. I was listening to the part about the EIN, and I love that you told them not to pay for it, because it's fairly easy, but they make it more complicated sometimes, the questions on the IRS website, than they need to be. But two is that people should remember to write down their EIN as soon as, because if they close the browser after they complete the task, it's hard to get that number again until they mail it to you. So that was one, sadly, I've learned through the hard way. But that was one thing that I did have, I was thinking about that. I'm glad you brought that up. So thank you.
You're welcome. I always recommend that people take an actual screenshot of the screen when it comes up because, like you said, it is hard to actually go back and find your EIN number if you don't remember it, you don't write it down, you don't take that screenshot. It's hard to get in contact with the IRS and try to search that back up.
When so I got my EIN number, I didn't know, I went on the website and it was hard. So I actually went to the New Mexico tax, and if you make an appointment, they'll go with you step by step, and then they'll give you a printout of it. And then I just put it with my files.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's an option too.
Ladies, that is great information for you, you're here locally, so take advantage of your local resources.
It's the New Mexico tax, it's off of like Eubank and Copper.
I also wanted to add a little something about the business planning. So business planning is definitely ONABEN's sweet spot. We've been helping support business planning initiatives with tribes literally since 1991. But I will tell you this about a business plan. Allison was so spot on when she said it was a roadmap. You might not think that you need one, that it's something that you can bypass because you've already got customers, but there may come a time when your business is growing or it needs to change courses or diversify a little bit, and having that plan that you can go back and look at is so important. I literally will wake up in the middle of the night sometime when I have a program idea for ONABEN or a business idea for me and one of the people that work with me on the daily, because those are the people I rope into my entrepreneurial activities. But I never have a piece of paper and a pen, but I will pick up my phone and I will text myself my business idea. Even if you're in a restaurant and you have something that you're like, oh wow, I love that, I want to incorporate that. Write it down on a napkin, because the plan just starts with your idea. It doesn't have to be intimidating because it's your plan. It can be as simple or as complicated as you want to make it. And as your business grows, so should the plan. So continue to revisit the plan, write down all of your ideas. That's also an individualized technical assistance that we offer at ONABEN. So if you get to a point and you need some wordsmithing, you need some pretty graphics on it, or you're a little confused, cost of goods sold or financials, our team is so happy to step in and to provide that support for you. I have literally saw Allison break down the cost of one chocolate chip cookie for an entrepreneur.
There's a question online. It says, in partnership, is it mandated to have an articles of incorporation or articles of operation? Is this the document that outlines the roles and responsibilities of each partner and how much percentage they each hold in the partnership?
Delphina, that is what you would call a partnership agreement. It's not, I mean, it'd be a similar type of document, but generally it's called a partnership agreement. And in that document, it's going to list which partner is responsible for what, which partner has which liabilities, and it will be signed off and usually notarized in front of a notary on that document.
You all offer business plan templates?
So we do have some resources that we can send out. We work with a lot of artists, and we've kind of learned that artists think differently than, you know, say an entrepreneur who wants to open up a brick and mortar boutique or a food truck. And so we do have some fill in the blanks. We also offer a program called Entrepreneurship, which is literally a business planning book, 12 chapters long, so lots of information, kind of guided by other entrepreneurs and their journeys through entrepreneurship. We also do website design, logo design, because, you know, an online presence is important in this day and age. It just adds a level of relevancy to your business if somebody can actually find you online.
I have the question of, if you, let's say you open up an LLC and you decide, oh no, I want to go into partnership with someone or become a corporate, do you have to go back to the SOS and change that as well? Or do you open up a whole new business?
Did you hear that, Allison?
Yeah, so it would depend on what your state allows. It would probably be easiest to just let the original business go unless you're wanting to keep the same name. But you can do structure changes through the Secretary of State's in most states. And where you would have to re-register with the business structure that you're wanting to have at that time and file it with the state. And the only time I would suggest doing that is, like I said, if you're wanting to keep the same business name.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
I think that onto that same, whether it's a sole proprietor, partnership, or corporation. I know you mentioned business and personal. I've heard that as some of the LLCs or small businesses, you file with your taxes as well. Do you separate them afterwards as well? I know some businesses solely become a business. And
so the thing to remember is that, like with an LLC, business taxes are due on March 15th, January, February, March, April. Yeah, business taxes are due on March 15th. They're due a month prior to your personal taxes. And so say that you have an LLC, that because of the way that profit and losses flows through your LLC into your personal ones, it's due a month forward. And then based on whatever your tax preparer comes up with from your business taxes, your LLC taxes, I believe the document that they prepare and give to you is called a K-9. Don't quote me on that, but they prepare a document from those taxes, give that to you, and you use that document to file on your personal taxes, opposed to like having a W-2.
thank you.
An important thing early on is the accounting side. Finding a bookkeeper or an accountant that you trust. And those are scary types of professionals because they sound expensive. Bookkeepers not as much, but there's also a national organization called SCORE that's it's retired individuals from various professions, and they are supposed to volunteer their services. And just about every state has a SCORE. And so you might look at that just for some true tax guidance before you find your personal, business accountant if you don't have one of those yet.
And that is one of the things that I recommend people, that when they, get to the point where they do have the money to, unless you're a numbers person and you just love math and that's one of your passions or one of the things that you're really good at, when you have extra money to spend on something, the bookkeeper or the accountant is where, it'd probably be most beneficial and relieve stress is to put it there.
Okay, I think Debbie can go. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, the next thing we're going to talk about is credit or your credit score. Because if you are a startup business, you would, you're obviously not going to have credit for your business. You're going to have to use your own personal credit if you wanted to do, maybe look into funding or expanding your small business. So we put together a couple of credit hacks to maybe increase your credit score. So maybe if your credit score is lower than what a funder is looking for, we're going to give you some ideas on how to increase that score. Okay, so the first thing, and probably the most important and obviously the most obvious, is pay your bills on time. But how many in here knew that 1/3 of your credit score is based on how well you pay your bills? So if you pay your credit card or loan payment late, even just one time, it can knock valuable points off of your score. So the single best thing to improve your score is to pay on time. So we have a few hacks of maybe just to help keep you on schedule. The first thing to do is just alert yourself. So use your technology to your advantage, like set up alerts on your phone or by email. You can go in, log into your credit card or your bank loan, and they'll send you alerts too when your payment is coming due. The next thing is set up automatic bill pay. So even on a credit card, if you always set up at least the minimum payment due, so your payment is never late. So even if you're only paying the $25 minimum due, it's still building your credit score up. And then the next thing, I know, like when I switched over to ONABEN full time, the corporation I was working for, we were getting paid every week. And so my bills were set up like weekly, and I had them kind of divided out. But now I get paid every 2 weeks. So I had to go in and adjust. And most of a credit card or a bank, if you have a car loan or something, they'll allow you to change your payment date at least once. And so just make sure you're aligning your bill pay with your paychecks, and it just makes it a lot easier to keep control of that. Whoa. She went the wrong way. Okay. Step 2 is how much credit you're using. So the percentage that you're using is called credit utilization. If it's more than 30%, you're probably hurting your score. And so the credit utilization is just as important as paying your bill on time. An easy example would be if you had a credit card that had $1,000 credit limit, you would not want to charge over $300 because that would be 30% of your credit limit. So the goal is to always stay 30% or under. And records show that if you're only using 10% or less of your credit limit, that's the people who have the highest scores. So you're going to eventually hit the 700s and 800s if you keep that utilization low. So some tips to minimize or improve your FICO score would be to charge less. So that's sometimes easier said than done, but sometimes if you are spending too much, one of the things I like to do is I don't pack my credit card around. To be honest, I leave it at home. And then that way I'm not making like purchases just on a whim. You know, I'm like, I would have to really think about that purchase if I really wanted something, or I really wanted to go spend that money on something. And then I would also, I mean, a lot of people don't like to use cash, but I mean, I like to give myself an allowance and, you know, like, oh, this is your cash. This is your spending money. This is what you can use. And so I like to use cash. And then just try to make all your transactions with a debit card or even PayPal or something that's set up to your bank account directly. And then try to pay down your debt. So any balance that you're carrying on your credit cards, that adds to your utilization ratio. So if you're having trouble paying down your debt, maybe consider a consolidation loan. I recommend this if you have like a large number of credit cards. The goal would be to get a lower interest rate and only one payment. So you would get a consolidation loan and pay off that, your 4 or 5 credit cards. And then, but don't go reuse them, because then you're just adding debt to your debt. So that's the hard part. Also, even if you have your minimum payment set up every month, you always can go in there and make extra payments. Like if you have a yard sale, or you sell something online, or sell some extra product that you have made, when you get paid, you can go in and make extra payments. You don't just have to make that one monthly payment. And that will help you lower your balance, and it'll increase your credit ratio. Sorry, Allison. Another way to increase your credit ratio would be ask for a credit limit increase. So if you've had a credit card for a very long time, I know, like, if you go in there to like pay your bill or whatever, there's usually a drop-down box, and in that drop-down box, there is almost on every credit card is a credit line increase. And if you've had a credit card for a long time and you've always paid your bills, more than likely, if you request that increase, they'll increase your credit. But only do this, again, if you can control your spending. But the goal of this is to say, if you had a credit card that had $5,000 credit limit, but you had charged $2,000, your ratio is 40% of that card. So you want to drop it down under 30. So the only way to do that is to really make a lot of payments, make extra payments. But if you don't have the ability to do that right at this moment, just to get your credit score to increase, ask for that credit limit increase. Because if that credit card goes up to $8,000 credit limit, but you keep your spending the same, it's going to drop that credit ratio down to 25%. So that's a good way to increase your credit score. Because like I said, the 2 most important things is paying your bill on time and how much credit you're using. Step 4 is just to leave old cards open. So like, credit takes time to build. So if you've had a card, I feel like most everybody, if her first card is probably like a store card, like a Dillard's or an Old Navy or something like that. That's usually especially young people, that's their first credit card that they ever get. I know mine was, I don't know if anybody knows what a Cato is, but way back in the day, I had a Cato's card. And so that was my very first card. But I had that card for years, and so that line of credit just showed on my credit report forever. Like, I mean, I have a card, my Dillard's card, I've probably had open for 10 years. I don't use it often. I do use it every once in a while, because that's the thing with keeping an old card open. You have to use it sometimes. So if it's a store card, just every once in a while, go buy you something and then pay it right back off, just to show that you are using it, or they will close it on you. Same way with a credit card, like a Visa card, I would set up like something small that you're going to pay every month, like maybe your telephone bill or something, and let that charge, but then go in and pay it back off. I helped an individual, a couple, about 1.5 years ago with a mortgage. He was trying to increase his credit. So I had him open a credit card, because it wasn't that he had bad credit, he just had no credit. And so, I had him open a credit card and we actually had weekly meetings about his, financial situation. And, I would have him just like, I'm like, just go buy a tank of gas. And then when you get paid on Friday, just pay it off. And then that way, it showed. And within a year, he was able to get his mortgage. So, but it takes a lot of discipline, but if you have an old card, just leave it open, use it every once in a while, and they won't close it on you. And it'll show like a long credit history on your credit report. Stay vigilant. Building credit requires time and dedication. So over the years, responsible spending and repayment, it'll do the work for you. How many in here know that you can get a free credit report every year from all 3 credit reporting bureaus? So you can just log on to their website and you can download a credit report. And every person has the availability to get one per year. I know like a lot of credit cards will give you like a credit score. Like they'll send you like updated, like your monthly credit score is this today or whatever. But you should always like go through your entire credit report and make sure there's nothing on there that is like showing negative, or maybe an inquiry, like who has went to a car lot and had them run your credit report. And if you notice, you have like 20 inquiries. There is a new law, like if they do that, it's only supposed to count against you once, because it's like the same, you're trying to get credit for the same thing. But sometimes it doesn't, and it's best to look at those inquiries to make sure it's not hurting your score. And you can dispute those every, so often.
Can you print out your credit score from like Equifax and take it to a car dealership?
They'll either want, so like if you went to a car dealership, they're either going to want you to have your own funding, or they're going to make you fill out a credit application.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll have you fill out a credit application. And as soon as you sign that application, that gives them the right to pull your credit and gives them the right to like submit it to multiple banks, which they say they're trying to get you the best deal, but they're getting the best deal for them. Yes. So just be careful when you do that. It is, if you can get your own financing, if you have a bank that you've banked at for years, it's better to just go get like kind of pre-approved, and you just walk in there and like, this is what I got and this is what I'm buying, and you can either take it or I'm not buying a car today. So.
I don't think one thing, sorry to be.
No, you're fine.
About like small banks. So I'm from a tiny little town in Oklahoma called Town, which is where my tribe is located with Cherokee Nation. I've literally banked with the same bank since I was 16 years old. My kids bank there, and we live in Tulsa now. I do have like a Bank of America account, but my primary account is my tiny little bank of Cherokee County, Armstrong Bank. They do have more branches throughout Oklahoma now, but because I've been with them for so long, it's literally the relationship that Debbie just, kind of conveyed. My car that I drive on daily is having some major issues. And the idea of going to a car dealership literally like makes me like so uncomfortable. It makes me anxious. So I just email my bank, and I've had the same lady for several years, and I always start off with, "Hey, are you still at the bank?" She's actually in a different role now. She's now their business development manager, and she said, "What do you need?" And I'm like, "I kind of need a new car." And she just said, "Okay, great, go, this is your car, this is what it's worth. When you find something you want, just have them send me a purchase order." And as soon as I walk into a car lot, my first thing out of my mouth is, "I don't want or need your financing, so don't even try it. Like, this is how much money I can spend. And if I like your car, I'll let you know." And then all the anxiety is gone from me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have to get scared about how those inquiries are impacting my credit score. Cause I hate getting on my credit card company and looking and seeing something change in my score. It just irritates me.
I've actually walked into a car dealership one time with a spreadsheet. I knew exactly what my car was worth. I knew exactly the car I wanted, and I just gave it to them. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. And because I hate the back and forth. So I know that's a little off topic, but it was just, it's really funny. Like, just make sure you do your research when you're, going to go purchase, or, and that goes with anything. If someone's going to pull your credit, just make sure that what you're doing is like, is it worth the hit on your score? So. Okay, now this is going to sound a little crazy, but I'm going to tell you how to use your credit card. And I'm going to tell you to use your credit card. I want you to use your credit card, but I need you to do it strategically, and I need you to be very disciplined when you do it. So first thing is, remember when I said that you can request a payment change. So that is one thing you want to look into, like, when is my credit card falling? Like, what day is it falling? And what bill can I use without changing my budget that I can charge on this credit card? So the goal is to reduce your credit ratio. So remember the 30% that we were talking about, and that number is going to stick with you when you walk out of this room, and every day from now on, you'll be like, I can't charge over 30%. So, say if you have a credit card that has a $3,000 balance or a $3,000 credit limit, but your balance is $2,000, that utilization ratio is sitting at 66%. So you already have it in your budget. Like, you can't afford to pay anything except the minimum payment of $100. And that's fine. I'm going to show you how to trick the credit bureau into making it, because here's the thing about the credit bureaus. It is all an algorithm. It's watching you charge things, watching you pay things, and it's a computer that's deciding whether that your credit worthiness, so it's okay to play a little unfair, and I'm going to show you how. So, how many know who has a credit card? Just raise your hand. How many know that you have a due date and you have a statement date? Those are two different dates, and they're very important. Very good. Okay, so on our example, we're going to pretend that our payment due date is the 1st of the month. But guess what? I have a $300 electric bill that's due on the 8th of the month. So a statement date will always fall about maybe 3 to 5 days after your due date. So remember that date. So my payment due date is on the 1st, but my statement date is on the 5th. That statement date, that balance of your credit card, that's what's going to report to your credit report that month. So instead of paying the $100 on the 1st, I want you to take your $100 for your credit card. I want you to take your $300 for your electric bill. And I want you to put the $400 on your credit. Make that payment to your credit card on the 1st. Don't use your credit card. Let it set for those 3 days. And as soon as the statement date hits, and as soon as you know that it reports to the credit bureau, which it'll report that day, as soon as you do that, then take your credit card and go pay your electric bill. Your budget's staying the same. You're not using any more money, but your credit report is going to show that that credit card has a $400 decrease on your credit card that day. And yes, it's going to go up the next day, but they're not going to see that because you're going to do the same thing the very next month. And if you keep doing that, not only are you going to pay your credit card off, but your credit score is gonna shoot up. And and I'm not joking, like I've seen it shoot up about 20 points or more. So if you keep doing that, and you're not changing anything and you're not spending any more money, you're just using your money strategically and your budget's staying the same. So I know that's a lot of info, so. If you have questions about that, or if you need help, like strategically setting up how to do that, you can always reach out to me and we'll do like some one-on-one technical assistance and do that. But that's a good way to get your credit score up. And it's also, it makes you be very disciplined about getting that credit card paid down. So, are there any questions about that? Because that is a lot of information.
Yeah.
That is truly yes, I have that. I did give you a handout and it does it a little bit more in depth. And I think we also sent that calendar out to everyone that's on Zoom. So, but if you have questions, just let me know. Let's see. Step 7 is just be patient. So no matter where you are at, no matter what your score is, just applying these steps will increase your credit score. And just remember that it takes time, but just incorporate all these practices and you'll definitely see your credit score go up. And especially if you're searching or looking to maybe get funding for your business or anything else, even a mortgage or a car, like anything. If whatever your goal is, these steps will definitely help you get there. So is there any questions or, okay.
So I am 25, never had any credit.
Mhm.
Would you recommend going to the bank to get a credit card?
Yeah, you can go through your bank. Sometimes bank credit cards are a little bit more, I feel like they're not as lenient to someone who has never had credit. The gentleman that I helped with his mortgage, I just said, go to Capital One because they have different programs for different individuals. Like they have a card for someone who's never had credit before. You're welcome.
And several of our staff on and off are certified credit coaches, so, I'm not a numbers person, but I like a score to let me do what I need to do online. But I get confused. And so, Debbie's always been kind of my go-to. So if you feel like you want to raise that score and you're like, wait a minute, how do I do this? Like, I'm due on the 1st, but I'm paying on the 3rd, it gets kind of confusing. She will absolutely help you. She's there to help support. And I would suggest that these hacks, you share with your family members because the whole idea is like, breaking our cycles. My daughter is in college and she's always benefited from the use of my card. I'm like, you go somewhere, you have to eat, whatever, which is fine. She lived in my house until last semester. And I happened to look at my credit card statement and I'm like, what on earth have you been buying? Like, is it school related? And I looked at I didn't know this, but on my credit card company, I actually could not just see her purchases, but I saw this handy dandy little thing that allowed me to see what she was buying. And she didn't count on that. So I texted her and said, I see you've been buying some games on your phone. How fun. You're paying me back out of your own mess. I have access to your bank account. I'm going to help you out. This is not free money. So she's learning how to live a little differently and not rely just on the credit that is extended to her by me. So share these hacks with your family members and, let's all learn to live a happier, healthier, financially well life together.
Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking of like step 4, when you said leave your credit card with, and I had a friend, she thought it was a good thing. She paid off her credit card and having a business, and then she closed it, but then she looked at her score and she tried to apply for something and her
Mhm.
score went down.
Yeah. Yes. Because when you close it, it actually makes it look like you're newer to the credit scene than you actually are. Because if you close it, then it'll stay on there for a little while, but it'll show closed. But the problem with that, it doesn't show closed by who. You know, it doesn't, it could have been closed by the creditor, you know, and they're like, oh, well, she might be a credit risk. They closed her account for some reason. So, yeah.
I was just thinking that because my father said, oh yeah, I finally paid off the house and now my credit score went down. But again,
Yeah.
who closed it? He paid it off and he's like, that hurt me. His high score went down lower by
Yeah.
100, like 100 points.
I know, it's,
That was I paid off all my debts thinking, but yeah, my credit score went from 7 to, dropped.
Yeah.
Like nothing. I was like, what happened there? But.
I know. The funny part is if you would have refinanced it for some reason, it would have went up.
Yeah.
Probably. I know, it's just so many tricks. Like, if you would, normally, if you do a consolidation loan, you're paying off your credit cards, but you're leaving them open. But you have this new loan on there, and normally it will jump up instead of down. It is, I don't know, there's really no rhyme or reason of how it works, to be honest, but it does pay to watch it. Like, if you can sign up to get alerts on your credit every month, it does pay to watch your credit score, just because, I mean, also you can be hacked and somebody can be doing something and reporting or something negative reporting that shouldn't be reporting.
And even using something like Credit Karma or something to look at it, you know,
Yeah.
you can end up in situations where, like my oldest card years ago, I believe it was a Walmart card, and Walmart changed card companies. So they closed all their cards and like went to Capital One, or it was one and then they moved to another. So my oldest credit history got closed by them. And so sometimes it's not even you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So if the bank is offering to buy your credit card, like, I went to my bank just to talk with the banker and, he said he could buy, the bank could buy out the credit card that you have right now, like I have a little gap left. Does that
He-
gonna affect your credit score?
They might be trying to, maybe give you maybe a consolidation loan or something, or giving you a loan to pay off that loan. I would only do that if, one, the interest rate was cheaper, and two, your spending was gonna stay the same, like you wasn't, it doesn't do you any good to pay off that credit card with another loan if you're gonna go back and charge the credit card.
Well, they wanted me to open a credit card with the bank. They would buy the other credit out, and so they would just.
Oh, they'd transfer the balance, basically.
Yeah, they're gonna transfer, so, those are good, especially if you can get a 0%, like for the first year. I know a lot of people will get, like, they'll get a credit card offer in the mail, it's like 0% for the whole, 12 months. Well, if you get that card and you're approved, if you transfer your high interest rate credit, your Capital One, over to your new Discover card that has a 0% interest, you could make the same payments that you were paying on that Capital One, but pay it off a lot quicker because you don't have any interest charging you for that 12 months. You're welcome.
That's a recommendation too for your first credit card, is to look at
The interest rate. Yeah.
You don't want to do something like 20%, 25%.
Yeah.
You're really looking for a small
Yeah.
percentage.
And the gentleman that got the credit card, I think he had like a 22% or whatever, but it wasn't affecting him because he was literally charging something, paying it off, charging something, paying it off. So if you pay it off before the due date, you're not going to get hit with a interest rate.
Say I charge it today, how long should I wait?
I actually, because I needed him to show like an actual credit history, I said, because he was trying to increase his score, I actually had him like charge $30-40 on his card and let it ride for a month. Because I needed him to report that on his credit bureau, and then the next month he paid it off. So, if you're charging small amounts, even that interest, even if it's a higher interest, like your payment is not gonna be that much. And if your goal is to build credit and, you're working for something, paying that tiny bit of interest might be worth getting that history on there. So,
And if you put it by the statement date, you won't get charged the interest.
yeah,
And so that's also the piece of it, is you wanna avoid trying to get the interest added on.
yeah.
So if you put it at the statement date, you won't get the interest added. I was gonna ask, when we talk about business versus personal, you have your business credit card and it has your name, it's still part of your personal.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, because normally, unless you are a business that's been going for a while, your credit score is going to be tied to that business. I mean, once you get going, you can actually apply for a business credit card with your EIN number that you have received. But until you get established to that point, you'll have to use your own credit to get that funding. All right, is there any more questions?
I don't see any in the chat, so I think we're good.
Okay.
Everyone online, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, if you'll just stay online a little bit, as we do, we've got drawings both for our online and in-person, attendees. But first, I'd like to acknowledge our facilitators that came to us from Oklahoma. ONABEN, both, Ms. Debbie and Ms. Veronica. A little about, the organization is ONABEN is a nationally recognized nonprofit organization dedicated to strengthening Native entrepreneurship, economic development, and business capacity building in Indian country. For nearly 35 years, ONABEN has maintained a consistent and trusted presence in tribal communities, delivering high-quality business, education, technical assistance, and economic development services. Their longevity reflects deep-rooted relationships, cultural understanding, and a steadfast commitment to serving Native entrepreneurs, tribal governments, and partner organizations. And it is such an honor for NWL to partner with ONABEN as we move forward and continue to serve our communities across Turtle Island. And so as a token of and there is a piece in your handouts on their services and their core competencies. Please feel free to reach out. If you don't have that, we'll get those over to you. And like we said, we're stronger together. And we work to serve our community as best we can with the resources we have. So I would like to present these gifts to our facilitators. This is for Miss Veronica and for Miss Debbie, and we also have a gift for Miss Allison. And thank you. And these came from Dancing Butterfly, who is one of our sisters in finance. Beautiful products, and we purchased them from Pueblo Collective in Bernalillo. So if you all haven't been there, please make it a point to get to see Miss Stephanie and all of the products that they have. They're a collective of artists throughout the Southwest. And the store is something to see. So, and just thank you, Miss Stephanie. She opened up last night for us to be able to shop. And we've also got lunch for everybody, brought to you by Blue Corn Kitchen. And I'd like to acknowledge our chef Cleo. It was her birthday, and I told her we wouldn't sing, we would spare her that. I said, "What, I might sing the AIM song." But I don't have a spirit, so. But from us to you, we just want to say we appreciate you and we value how you serve our community. And there's so many things that are done that are unseen, and we uplift you in your efforts. So not enough for you. Yes, okay, and so for our online participants, we've got a gift of the NWL book and a entrepreneurial book from, and this is the NWL book that we will send out. We've got two attendees that will receive a gift, as well as an entrepreneurial book from our entrepreneurs in the Southwest. One of the contributors to the book was Miss Urbino Castillo. So thank you. And so we'll draw for two. This is for Delphine. So Miss Delphine, if you could drop your address in the chat or send directly to
Send it directly to the NWL org messenger, I guess you could say, or chat.
and we'll get that out as well as Miss Lorena. If you're still on with us, if we could get your address as well sent. And I will get for our attendees, thank you for joining us online. Second, thank you for your grace, ladies. So these will be for our attendees in person. This comes from Fourth Generation, one of our original creators. When we first started our event, she's out of Canada, and just her growth, she has her own standalone store as well now. So she's got a great story. And here are the books that will be sent out, as well as given here. The Indigenous Women Entrepreneurship of New Mexico, Surpassing Barriers and Stereotypes. So let's bust those stereotypes, ladies.
And I just have to say, the reason why we wrote our chapters in that book was because we all went to school at UNM, Anderson School of Management, and there was no textbooks for Indigenous entrepreneurs. And we were wanting to have men and women contribute, but only the women responded. So that's how it ended up being the way it is.
They apparently missed the memo. Latasha. All right. Hello, thank you. Miss Cleo, birthday girl. Becca. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, thank you, everybody. Again, please continue to follow NWL on our platforms. This presentation will be available on our socials as well as ONABEN's. And so please, if you need it, please look down, follow us on our sites to be able to pull that down. We're going to go ahead and eat. And if you disconnect from our online, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
We can go over here. There's food out here. Everybody where the facilities are.
Thank you for managing all that.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.